Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where we are currently working on our re-entry system after having proofed our takeoff system from Eve for this ridiculous mission. And we are currently ready to put this out on the pad and run a quick test of this to see exactly how this will end up going. So let's just put this on out here. Let's move this into orbit of Eve because we need to be checking for the entry to Eve. So we'll just put this into orbit of Eve. There we go. Teleport that on over. And of course, we are going to be getting over there in a legitimate way when we actually run the mission. But for now, we're just running simulations to check to see if this is a viable approach for what we're trying to do. So we're going to lock this over to retrograde. We'll fire up this engine. And we're just going to burn ourselves nice and retrograde here to drop down our periapsis. Although, again, if I had thought about it, we probably should boost up the power level of this engine just because I don't actually care about the efficiency of this current exact setup. And we could get through this burn a lot faster if we were to put in like a Mammoth 2 or something. So that is definitely something to think about. We could even put a Vector in there. Both of those would be more than enough kick to get us out of orbit. And then there's also the fact, yeah, let's just revert this back, actually. Because there's also the fact that we go in on the night side in this current position, and I don't love that. I'm wondering if we can change in that menu where in the orbit we are, because that would definitely be interesting. But let's upgrade this engine just to make this deorbit burn go that little bit faster. It doesn't have to be efficient. It just has to pull us down into the atmosphere, right? So that is the overall goal. So I'm going to ditch this engine, and we're going to change this out for, this is going to need to be a medium-sized engine, right? So we could go for like a mainsail here. It's not going to burn for very long, but it's going to burn. No doubt about that. So let's put this out on the pad. And let's investigate if we can change when in the orbit we're going to be here. I think we can, but we need to... Let's see. So this is not in the advanced mode. This is the epoch. I think the epoch is, in fact, where we are in the orbit, right? I think. But what is that measured in? Let's try an epoch of 10. Apparently that caused us to zoom out. Okay, let's teleport this and see if this puts us over by the Terminator where we were before. Let's see here. Where are we? This is definitely a different location. We are heading towards the apoapsis here. Okay, so let's see what this would put us at if we changed our epoch to 20. I'm still not sure what this is measured in. Degrees? Maybe? Probably not. Did that change anything? I feel like that's about this. It did change anything. We're closer to the apoapsis. It changed where the apoapsis and periapsis are. Okay, what if we put it at 90? That definitely changed it. That's interesting. So somewhere around 120 is probably where we want to be. Yeah, this'll do. Okay, so that sounds good. We're going to park this guy over at retrograde. We're going to fire up this mainsail. We can see we have a little bit less delta V here, but it shouldn't matter. We are going to have way higher thrust to weight. Beautiful. So this burn is going to go a lot faster, and that is indeed exactly what we're looking for. So we're going this direction currently. And we're just dropping our periapsis right on down. The question is, do we have the drag to not have our heat shields burn off? That's the hope here. Also, when we separate this mainsail, are we going to lose this heat shield? We shouldn't. But we shouldn't have before either. It was launching it the wrong direction. Because, you know, that's definitely how this works. We're definitely able to launch it towards the thing it's attached to. That's certainly how that works. You don't have to push off of anything, right? I'm pretty sure about that. I'm not sure about that at all. We're, of course, about done with this burn. We can see our periapsis is currently about 60 kilometers. Okay. We're feeling out where we want that to be. So let's just detach. Oh, it did break it. So that broke the heat shield. Okay. It really shouldn't break the heat shield. But I guess we'll have to build in a spacer then. We can do that. That's not the end of the world. Let's actually just head back to the VAB right now before we put any more time into this run. Let's put a spacer in here, and that should be fine. So all we're going to do here, as soon as this loads in, is we are going to head back over here. I'd like to be able to look at this. There we go. And I'm going to detach this guy. And I'm going to space this out a little bit with a strut. So we're going to put a truss in here, maybe like this one. Like that. And then we're going to make sure that this doesn't get all bendy on us with some struts. So we'll put this in like quad symmetry here. And we'll just connect these together. Like that. Nice and strong, in theory. So hopefully that will get us the space we need. I'm not sure that this will actually fix anything, but let's see if that does. Also, I would like to... We could also just cut the impulse on this down to 0 kilonewtons and see if that changes anything. So that should be, I think, a viable thing. Let's save that. That means that we're not going to have any separative force there, in theory. Maybe we should have, like, 1 kilonewton. Okay, maybe, like, 10 kilonewtons. So a small amount of separative force. We'll go with, like, 12 kilonewtons because that's what it was easy to get to. Sure. Let's see if that works. I really don't want that heat shield being destroyed on staging that. And it's happening quite consistently, so fixing that is a necessity for sure. Okay, let's put ourselves out in orbit of Eve. Okay, there we go. Out in orbit of Eve. Retrograde, and firing up this engine. Okay, this is solid here. I like it. Our vessel being out of communication range doesn't seem to actually matter. I don't think it's actually true, maybe. I don't know. Regardless, we're just going to bring this guy right on down. We do have a bit of a roll issue here. I would like to get this guy rolled all the way around, actually, and come in with the tail on the top side. So we can try to do that. While we've got this engine going. I'm not sure how successful we'll be. We're definitely making some amount of progress on it. I wish we could set the orientation of the vehicle when we teleported it here. Obviously, the vehicle would not be in this orientation to start with. So, it's fine. We don't have too much in terms of, like, reaction wheels on this. We might want to put some on. But we are about to run out of fuel here. Okay, let's see if this fixes the detachment. Well, it didn't break it. The fairing is still there. So that's noted. However, I think that the fairing will probably separate. What happens if we extend this heat shield? Does it just push it away? Kinda, yeah. Okay, so that sounds good. Let's get all of these heat shields fully extended. There we go. And we're about halfway done with our overall rotation here. And that's a good sign. Okay, so these bits are, of course, somewhat problematic, but we have managed to have our heat shield here. That's a good sign. And we are almost done with this rotation now. So let's just finish that up. Is there a way to change our orientation in this? I don't think so. No, I don't think there is. Okay. It doesn't really matter, I guess. So let's just position ourselves right around over here and start heading in. So we're definitely pushing these bits away from us, and by the time we actually enter the atmosphere, that should be okay. So I'm going to continue to roll here until we're pretty much flattened out. The real question is, do we have enough drag to prevent our heat shields from burning up? Our heat shields burning up is a bad sign. There's no doubt about that. That's for sure. Okay, we're pretty much leveled out here. I'm going to freeze our rotation. Okay, I'm warping us forward for now, and we can see we are getting some distance from that mainsail. That looks good. Now, of course, we're not in the atmosphere at this moment, and... oh, we are going around to the Terminator here. Cool. Well, we're entering in the dark anyway. Noted. So we really need to have it be rotated around to be, like, over here or so. That's fine. We can definitely do that. So we're just going to bring ourselves back around over here. I don't really want to be on 4x time warp because of the frame rate for right now. Let's get this turn done, which of course we are currently using our wings to assist with. The real question here is, are we going to have a heat shield overload like we did before? And if we do, these two, I would hope, would be the first to burn off. Then these two, then this one, ideally. We might actually be able to, if that's the way that it goes, we might actually be able to do this. We just need to get low enough into the atmosphere. Well, we need to be getting low and slow, specifically, is what we need here. So that looks good. We are in the atmosphere, but still orienting over to retrograde at this time. The real question that I have is, will this get to the ground safely? I don't care whether it's going to get to the ground on land or sea right now. We can see we're currently over foothills. I'm not currently fussy about which that is. Although, for the real one, we're definitely going to want to be over the sea if we can help it. Okay, so we're basically flattened out at this point. This is looking decent. The atmosphere is still very thin at this level, so it's very clear that the atmospheric thickness, and now we're over the seas. Cool. It's very clear that the atmospheric thickness in KSP2 on Eve, very, very different from the atmospheric thickness on Eve in KSP1. At this point in KSP1, we would be having significant amounts of drag already. So that is certainly noted. But with us relatively oriented here, I'm going to boost us right on up to 4x time acceleration. It's going to be a bit of a slideshow, but that's KSP2 for you. And the real question is, as we approach this periapsis, are we going to be seeing any heating issues? And are we going to be seeing this surface velocity start to go down? Down is what we want to see. So we can see there's a bit of heating on the tail here. That's understood. We also have a bit of turning happening. Okay. That's noted. Also, it's kind of weird the way that these are being shaded. I get why it's shading this center one like this, but these ones back here, they're very strangely shaded. I feel like that's not working quite the way it's supposed to. So we're losing attitude, and that isn't great. My question is, why are we losing attitude? specifically in a spin like this. We're attempting to counteract it, but it's not going well as of right now. So we might need to add reaction wheels here. Yeah, that's definitely not ideal. We certainly don't want to spin at this point. We want to be holding attitude right here. Adding reaction wheels is definitely a possibility. We could add them right behind these heat shields. And that could help this situation. This spin is going to result in a catastrophic failure. 100% once we get a little bit lower down. So this is clearly an issue with yaw authority. Indeed. The spin is getting faster at this point. And yeah, we're going to lose this tank out over here. Yeah, look at how fast this spin is getting now. So we clearly have a lack of yaw authority at this point. That is understood. The question is, how do we want to address it? So we're going to need to revert this right on back. A lack of yaw authority is unexpected, actually. I did not expect to have a lack of yaw authority there. I wonder if that happened because of the warp. I'm not sure, but that is clearly something that needs to be handled. So let's hop in here. I'm going to put in a couple of large reaction wheels in the back in front of these, or rather behind these two heat shields. So we're going to put in some reaction wheels here. We're going to need to go to utility, stabilizer, and the largest reaction wheels we have right back here, like that. That's the idea. I'm also going to bump this up from 12 kilonewtons. I'm going to double that to 24, and we'll see if that helps with our clearance there. Okay, so let's save this, and let's try this again. This time, I'm going to move our orbit again. So we're going to have this be at around, like, 180, we'll try, in terms of the epoch. I think it is degrees that this is measured in. Okay. So we'll teleport that right on over. It's still going to put us upside down for some reason. I have no idea what that reason is, but whatever. Okay, so let's just align ourselves to retrograde here. And 180 put us there. Actually, I think we can move even further back. 270? It's not very different. Okay. It's not really changing our position in the orbit that much, but I guess this will do. So we are currently on our way to the apoapsis. We'll have a little bit of time, and we are positioning ourselves. You can see we're turning quite a lot faster due to those extra reaction wheels. That gives us a lot more authority. Cool. That also means that we're draining power faster, but I'm not too concerned about our power situation. I think we're fine on the power, to be honest. Now, our parachutes are going to want us to be landing in a vertical orientation in their current setup. We're probably going to want to change those parachute setups, but for now I'm interested in knowing if this number of parachutes will just give us a safe landing. I don't know that. But let's begin our retrograde burn. There we go, and we'll bring this guy right on down. Cool. We should also be able to spin much faster, so we're going to start our roll here. Okay, this is not tremendously faster. To be honest, I don't care that much about the roll. Let's just leave it be. It's fine. We're not going to come in this orientation, but it shouldn't actually be a substantive difference. So let's go ahead and extend these two heat shields here. Hang on, these two. There we go. And then we're going to ditch this and hope it doesn't break the heat shield. So we've got 15 meters per second left to go here. Looks good. 10 meters per second left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Okay, let's ditch that. It did not break the heat shield. Okay, excellent. We'll extend this heat shield, and we'll extend these 2 heat shields as well. Cool. Now we're going to warp forward a ways. That definitely cleared better. I like it. And we're now in the atmosphere. So let's get ourselves oriented around to retrograde. Cool. We're on 4x time acceleration right now. That seems okay. The frame rate is not going to be great, but we don't actually need frame rate for this simulation. We just need data. So the question is, are those 2 reaction wheels enough to give us the yaw authority that we need? We'll find out. I'm also potentially interested in changing our rotation slightly here. We drifted a bit off of completely flat, so that seems fine. Now, keep in mind, our wings are going to give us some lift on the way in here, I think. They're backwards, so it's going to be kind of awkward, but pretty sure we're going to get some lift. And that's not a bad thing. That will allow us to have more atmosphere between us and the ground. So I like it. At this point, we are at around 84 kilometers, and let's just see here. We're rolling. Can we not roll? That would be fine. I would like to not roll. Thank you very much. I'm counteracting this roll. Okay. We've got it pretty much under control. Cool. Of course, we're coming around to the dark side again, so we're going to have to change our timing on this if we want to be coming down in the day side. In reality, of course, we're going to pick and choose where we come down, so that should be absolutely fine. Now, at this moment, we are at about 80 kilometers above the surface, and I want to continue to change our roll a bit here. We are starting to see a plasma sheath open up here, and we're currently going up in surface velocity, which isn't shocking. What are we over right now? We're over foothills? Noted. So that seems absolutely fine. We're not losing attitude due to yaw this time. So that's good. We still have this weird shading on these outer heat shields. I have a feeling the game wasn't designed with this ridiculousness in mind. And that makes sense. I can't say I'm shocked about that. At all. So we're continuing to go down here. We are rolling. Let's exit time warp here. The roll is being automatically counteracted by the SAS. That's interesting. Rolling is not actually a bad thing here, though, necessarily. Like, rolling doesn't change anything in terms of our approach vector. So rolling is okay if we do roll, as long as we don't roll too much, right? As long as we're not rolling when we hit the ground. That would be problematic. Even then, it wouldn't be too bad if we were hitting the water, unless we came in a really weird orientation. If we came in upside down, that could be problematic. I do intend to flip this over, of course, and come in right side up in reality. So we're currently over foothills, and we would really prefer to be over liquid. Ah, that looks like a heat gauge. That is a heat gauge. It's a little hard to see the difference, at least for colorblind me here. If we lost one of these and not the other, that would be problematic. Wait a sec, are we yawing? We are. We're losing yaw attitude. Okay, we see a heat gauge here as well. Now here. These heat shields overheat very readily. Okay, Keep in mind, we're asking a lot of these heat shields. This is a crazy amount of mass that we're trying to aero break here. This yawing is definitely not good. We're going to need more yaw authority in order to get that under control. However, surface velocity is only barely going up. We're really close to getting this thing in. The heat issues continue to be an issue. The major issue right now, though, is the yaw authority. So this is clearly a problem, right? We don't want to be losing attitude like this. And we lost this heat shield even as we yawed away. That's interesting. I'm wondering where this is wanting to sit. It just wants to flip all the way around. Okay. Yeah, losing this is, of course, somewhat catastrophic, but that's certainly very interesting. So this burns up, but that's primarily due to the yaw. Okay. Well, we can head back to the VAB, and we can add additional yaw authority. We can add more big ol' reaction wheels back there, and we could also theoretically add in some steering apparatus. Air brakes in KSP2 can't be used to steer, right? That's what grid fins are for, I believe. But let's see what we've got here. So we've got the aerodynamics here. So these are considered a control surface. So air brakes is definitely something that we could throw in. So we could throw in like a pair of air brakes that would be like back here. That's an interesting thought, actually. What if we did 8x symmetry? 8x symmetry, please. Thank you. And we put in air brakes in these 3 center locations. Now, they're going to be behind the heat shields. In reality, this would probably not be the greatest thing in the world. But it's certainly interesting. So if we did that, that would give us control surfaces back here that would not affect our takeoff weight. So it would be something kind of like this. Except these guys are rotated in a really strange way. I don't have mirror symmetry on. I'm not sure why this is mirror symmetrying. That's interesting. It shouldn't be. Now it's not. But now it is, in 8x. I feel like that's a bug. Does it do it in 4x? It does. But it doesn't rotate them weirdly. So I guess this works? Oh no, some of these are rotated weirdly. I don't know what's going on here. I guess I will restart the game. It is time to put a cut in here. And, I mean, restarting the game does tend to help. So I guess I'll restart the game, and we will see what this ends up doing, if anything. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.